going on, everybody? It's RoarWyJo coming at you with a brand new video, and we just got the final archetype for the deck build pack crossover breakers finally revealed. They revealed the second one like a few nights ago. It's that ritual one with like the worms and stuff. It searches Protoss because yippee. I didn't cover that one because everyone and their grandma was already talking about it, and when it did actually drop, I had to wake up early the next day for work, and so I didn't really have the time, and so I was like, you know what, screw it. And I actually felt really good at 10 p.m. last night for once, instead of having like a pounding headache or something. And they didn't drop this at 10 p.m. last night. They dropped it at 5 p.m. Japanese time, because the watch the White Rabbit has in the Disney movie for the archetype is set to 5 o'clock. And that's because this is based on Alice in Wonderland. So kind of cute, but also kind of annoying at the same time, because I would have loved to cover this last night instead. So I know that these are Cybers, I'm pretty sure, because they're based on like hacker stuff, and also apparently according to everybody, it's a shifter deck, because yay guys, we love shifter. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this, y'all. Starting off with Malice Pawn White Rabbit. It is a level 3 Dark Cybers effect, 1200 attack, 300 defense. You can only use the first and third effect once per turn. If it's normal or special summon, you can set a Malice trap from your deck with a different name from the cards in your graveyard. You take no battle damage from battles involving Malice Link monsters that point to this card, and if it becomes banished, you can pay 300 life points to special it, but you're locked into Link monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. I do like that it sets a Malice trap from deck instead of adding it from deck to hand, so you can actually dodge things like Ash. Having it have something with a different name from the cards in your graveyard is a little annoying. That's something I didn't like about the Ice Jade gimmick, for example. I don't know why they did that. The second effect probably has something to do with the rest of the archetype's flow. And then the third effect, yeah, you can definitely tell this is supposed to be a shifter deck, which is kind of annoying. Next up, we have Malice Pawn Cheshire Cat, which is the one that everyone on Twitter seems to be wanting to change their profile pictures to. Is level 3 Dark Cybers with 1500 attack, 300 defense. You only use the first and third effect once per turn. During your main phase, you can banish a Malice card from your hand, then draw 2 cards, or then you can draw 2 cards, you don't have to, so that helps you dodge a droll at least. And then monsters destroyed by battle with a Malice Link that point to this card are banished instead of being sent to the graveyard, and it has the same effect as the last one. I actually do like this card. There's kind of like some pros and cons between the first effect being during the main phase as opposed to on summon, because of course, you know, you can time it with like some of your different cards in hand, but also if you like normal summon this and are kind of banking your whole thing on banishing White Rabbit or something from hand, and then you just get hit by some removal, then it's going to be really, really bad, but it is pretty decent overall. The final main deck monster is Malice Pawn Dormouse. It is a level 3 Dark Cybers effect, 900 attack, 300 defense. Only use the first and third effect once per turn. During your main phase, you can banish a Malice from your deck. Also, all Malices you control will gain 600 attack for the rest of this turn. Malice links that point to this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it has the same third effect as the others. So this one just kind of seems like the best one by far. It immediately allows you access to place directly from your deck with its first effect. It also gives some pretty decent protection and some decent stat boost. I mean, like, it just says all Malices will gain 600 attack, that includes your main deck monsters as well. She'll go up to 1500, which is pretty good. She's definitely the one that you want to open with the most, and keep in mind, they are all searchable off of Signet Mining. The first Link monster is Malice Queen Red Ransom. It is a Link 3, Dark Cybers, with left, right, and bottom middle arrows. 2300 attack and requires 2 or more monsters, including a Malice. You can only use the first and third effect once per turn. On special summon, you can add a Malice spell from your deck to your hand. I like that it's on special summon, not just Link summon. The original attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls are swapped while this card points to a monster. And if it becomes banished, you can pay 900 life points to special it, and then you can banish a Cybers monster from your deck. So you can pretty easily loop this just by having it get banished by things like, you know, Fissure, Macro, Shifter, things like that. So even if it dies, it comes back, then you get another search, and then it has like, I wouldn't say a decent Floodgate effect. Admittedly, this is kind of mid. Like, this doesn't really do anything to most decks, especially Link decks. Like, it just won't affect them, period. So, not too sure about that, but it is good consistency-wise. I don't know why it's on a Link 3, though. Their other Link monster, because they're only getting 2 for now so far, is Malice Queen Hearts of Cryptor, is another Link 3 Dark Cybers with top, down, left, down, right arrows, 2100 attack, 3 monsters including a Malice monster, and you can only use each effect once per turn. Quick effect, you can target one of your banished Malice cards, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do banish a card in the field, this is non-targeting, and also its effect and activation cannot be negated if it points to a monster, and if this card becomes banished, you can pay 900 to special it, and double its attack. This one definitely feels like more of an endboard piece than the Red Ransom did, admittedly. I really don't like Red Ransom when it comes to like ending on it or just sitting on it. This is at least a disruption, which is pretty good, but to be fair, you aren't going to really need to be disrupting too much if your opponent's under shifter anyway, or like some other floodgate effect, so you're kind of already balanced out in that regard. But if you don't see one of those effects, then you're kind of just not really having a great endboard. So I guess their only spell that they can search off the Red Ransom is Malice in Underground. That's pretty funny. It's a field spell that says you can only activate one per turn. When it resolves, you can banish a Malice card from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So it's one of those please draw terraforming or die decks. It says Malice Link monsters you control gain 3,000 attack while you have 3 or more banished Malice traps with different names. And if you control any Malice Link monsters, your opponents can only target monsters can only target them for attacks. Okay, yeah, this definitely seems like a very field spell reliant deck so far already. And this is like the only spell that they have to actually search off a Red Ransom. And I'm assuming that the traps also have effects when they're banished, just like every single other card in the deck. So this could end up being like really, really good if you do open it. But yeah, definitely seems like it really wants to see this card. So they do have exactly 3 traps to go along with the Malice in Underground if, you know, it's not going to auto-scroll upward. There we go. Starting off with Malice Code MTP07 is a normal trap that says you can only activate 1 per turn. You can activate it the turn it was set by banishing a phase of Malice you control. And it says add a Malice from your deck to your hand, then if you control a Malice Link monster, you can banish a card in the field. Okay, so this is actually pretty cool to search off the White Rabbit, or set off the White Rabbit, because then you can set it, and then you can flip it to banish the White Rabbit immediately, and grab a different Malice monster, and then special back the White Rabbit. You don't really get, like, to normal summon that next monster, though, so you'd probably have to climb some other way, with, like, some generic cyber stuff, admittedly. But if you do control a Malice Link monster already, that is pretty cool that you get another non-target banish. Their next one is Malice Code GWC06. Is a normal trap that says you can only activate 1 per turn. You can activate a turn it was set by banishing a face of Malice you control. You special a Malice from your graveyard or banishment, then if you control a Malice Link, you can gain life points equal to the summoned monster's original attack. This one definitely doesn't seem as good, but you definitely do want to play it to get that effect on the field spell. Definitely like a decent one because you do get to like reborn any of your Malice monsters, that includes your Link monsters, so you can at least have like a big body on board or have some effects with a Link monster targeting stuff, so that's at least something. And finally, we have Malice Code TB11, is a normal trap that says you can only activate 1 per turn. You can activate a turn with 7 by banishing a face of Malice you control, blah, blah, blah. But it's a special a Malice from your deck, or if your opponent controls 3 or more cards, you can special a Malice Link monster from your extra deck instead, but the summon monster cannot attack or activate its effects this turn. Ooh, okay. That immediately made the card go from 0 to 100 back down to 0 real quick. There's honestly, unless you really, really want the main deck monster's effects that badly, there is honestly no reason to summon a Malice Link monster from this other than to get those effects, because you don't get the activated effects this turn. The attacking would be fine, but my idea was you would go for the Red Ransom on your turn to get the search to set everything up, and then you would summon the Hearts of Cryptor on your opponent's turn off this trap card, but you can't really do that, so there's really not much of a point in doing that instead of just summoning a main deck monster most of the time, so that's kind of annoying, but I mean, it's not the worst card ever. So what do I think about the Malice archetype now that we have at least this first little wave revealed? Probably missing like 1 card or something like that. It'd be cool if they got another Link monster. I definitely think it feels unfinished. The main deck monsters are actually pretty solid. They have like a decent theme going on, even if they are really, really normal summon reliant, which is kind of frustrating. So that's definitely going to be a problem with the deck. I think that the Link monsters, definitely it feels like they need another one, because why do they have 2 Link 3s and one of them is a consistency piece? It feels kind of clunky in that regard. I feel like they're similar to Centurion in that they kind of live and die by their field spell, but especially this archetype definitely does. And then they have a bit of a trap focus, but the traps aren't great. I don't like when archetypal traps are mostly like random ass consistency pieces. Like, I don't know why we have a search, a reborn, and an e-telly on trap cards. I get the point is that you want to use them on your turn as well, but you don't want to also do stuff on your opponent's turn that often. So like, other than this exact one allowing you to also have like an actual disruption on top of it, it doesn't feel great. I think especially when it comes to being, like, you know, a shifter deck, obviously, I'm gonna say that like a million times in this entire video, it definitely has potential in the future, but I think for now, it's definitely kind of lacking. Way too normal summon reliant, in general, unless you, like, use Gold Sark, I guess, to special your chicks from your deck. kind of like a bunch of mediocre Floodgate effects on some really big Link 3s that you have to make instead of like this being a Link 2 and like just not having one of these effects or nerfing it a little bit. Like, my big thing is that they definitely need a little bit more work to actually do something in the future, in my opinion, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below, because that's gonna do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure leave a like, as I'll split this video and the channel into different rendered, and I'll content or like it, like the rest of my review series. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I know I've skipped a bunch of different things. I'm very sorry about that. Then perhaps consider subscribing and turning notifications, because support should more than anything else, and it's absolutely free. Also, you can support me directly with getting some awesome perks in the process. Check out the Patreon down in the link down below. I have a $1 and $5 tier, both with different perks that you can have access to. That will help support me financially. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.